Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Annette Feravich, and I am here live with you, taking a look at my hair. Not looking so great, but I wanted to, as always, got to look at the hair first. First thing, as soon as you go online. And also, no makeup. Spent all day here. Could have done something with the makeup, but didn't. And didn't even change either. So whatever. But the reason why I hurried up, actually, I should have really done something with the hair, is that, look at this. We are here in Michigan, and what a beautiful day. And I can't record this, so I hope it comes out really well for all of us. Otherwise, download all kinds of stuff. But I could not get online on Thursday. I had all kinds of, Lucy over here. I let her outside with me. Come here. So I had all kinds of problems, and so I had to go and record some of the other videos. There she is. There's little Lucy. I had to record some of the other videos, and then I went live in the afternoon. But because I recorded the videos because I couldn't get online, I had trouble with the internet. I could not get to this video, and so I thought all weekend about how I was going to get to this video, and I also had a nice shower yesterday. I thought I would get to it, and didn't. It was Mother's Day, and actually, so I thought I would get to it Saturday, and then it was Mother's Day yesterday, and what a boohoo fest that was. Yes, it was. But you know what? Everybody has, I am certainly not the only person in the world who had a bad Mother's Day, number one. And number two, for sure, without a doubt. And still, my Mother's Day wasn't as bad as others still, right? Even though it was still not the best Mother's Day. But I will say this for all of those who boohoo on Mother's Day, that Mother's Day actually, I had a few Mother's Days there where I went out with my sisters, and I did that as a fallback, as likely my other sisters did too, or my sisters did as well, because what a big giant gaping hole that men leave for their women on Mother's Day. Just a holiday of hurt and pain for some people, right? Just so, okay, whatever. Not that we shouldn't celebrate our mothers, but come on. Shackley, you didn't even have a sale for your mothers. That is just, I'm saying it right there, and I hope that there's a whole bunch of people that hear me. Lucy, stop being, come on, get up here. Come on. Yeah, that should be embarrassing for Shackley, because you make your money, administrators or whoever you are, CEO, whatever, Roger Barnett, you make the money on the backs of mostly women. And for you to not even acknowledge that it was Mother's Day and have a sale for mothers, I just think that that's embarrassing. And maybe that's because you have some excuse, like it's not a whatever, international kind of acknowledge, England and America, that's enough. I don't care. Mother's Day. Where was it? How about, didn't Shackley start here in the United States, right? I don't know if it was always in Pleasantville, California, wherever. I should know, whatever. What have you done for me lately? Why should I know? I don't even know. Okay, but that's all about a whole bunch of other stuff and not about the classroom. And I am Dr. Annette Feravich, and I am the teacher, and we are here in the classroom on a Monday evening in Michigan, and just look at that. And oh, by the way, can I also tell you that if you watch my mystery series, you'll find out why I had to purchase a lawnmower and mow the lawn myself. But I'm going to get out of the way for just a minute and just show you that despite I've had a mystery series where I've had to talk about, not my good side, my other side is my good side. Not that I really have a good side. Oh, I should do it this way, though, shouldn't I? Because that is my better side. Sort of, right? Sort of. Anyway, look at the lawn that I did. I had to do that. It's a little patchy right there, you could see, because the lawn was this long. And why? Because I can't trust contractors in the neighborhood. Find out why I can't trust contractors in the neighborhood in my mystery series. And this is a good series because I give a lot of advice to women who are alone, and I am a woman who is alone and need to go find Lucy. All right, so you could look at my lawn and what I did with my lawn, and thank you, Wise Garden, there she is, for helping me with the mowing of the lawn. Although I don't appreciate the whatever. I appreciate you guys. Just just make sure you appreciate women and your mothers. That's all I'm saying. I'll probably say more. Right? That's all I'm saying right now at this moment. There's Lucy, so I did not lose her. So that's what I had to do myself, because men, especially in affluent conservative neighborhoods, try to take advantage of women so that they could, get some capital gains. Get some capital gains. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So let me go close that door. You'll see the sun setting. I don't know how long I could be out here. What if the sun sets? I'm not sure. Hold on. Although in Michigan, we just have the most glorious days, because we actually don't have a sun setting until usually, I have to move, not the camera, until usually 10 o'clock in the summer times, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. And I was listening to that coal miner song, right, by Patty Loveless. Is that it? I don't know. I know that's a whatever, but Patty, I'm not sure. But she's a country singer. I should know her name. And she sang it again with Chris Stapleton, that country coal miner song. Oh my gosh. And it's so good. It's so good. Closing the door over there. That's what I'm doing. And then we're going to get on with our classroom is what we're doing. Yes, because why? Because taking advantage of women. Segway falling apart. Look at my lawn. Okay, got my tea, got my water, and we are ready to go. Let's go. And that sun setting right there is the only thing that's between us. All right, whatever. Okay, so let's go to our critical thinking classroom, and the magic of technology allows me to move my slide to the better side. All right. So, what? Although I've got a mess here now. There we go. I don't think that was better. That was the wisest move, probably. Or it's just the sun is right in the right place right now, or in the wrong place. Whatevs. All right, let's get to our show. Let's get to the show. All right, so where were we? So let me tell you about the topic for today. As we were moving into this topic, before this, we had attraction. Did I put that up there now? That's not what we're supposed to be talking about. What happened here? Oh, I don't know what just happened there, except for the fact that okay, it doesn't matter, since I've been gabbing about everything else except for this, and now I've got the wrong slides for the the schedule up there, which I did redo but didn't import them. But what we I'm sorry, that is really disturbing. Okay, so I'm sorry that we're doing this, and I'm gonna do this. Anywho. So let me get. The other day we were talking about attraction, and so that was the way that I ended our or our Wednesday presentation. I didn't get on Thursday. We had a really, really good presentation on Wednesday. You may or may not remember, but we ended it with talking about this summary of, I think we called it attraction that day, though, didn't we? No, we're moving into attract. No, yeah, we called it attraction, is what we called it, not attachment. So there was attraction. At first, I was going to call it attachment. Then I called it attachment later on. So here's the thing about it. What did we have? We had a topic on attraction. Why? Then that was Wednesday. We had a topic on attraction on Wednesday. Why? I'm waiting for an answer. I don't hear one. No, because we were talking about what is attractive. So we were trying to bring together, and I'm trying to do two things at once here. So we were trying to bring together concepts of self-esteem and self-worth. And I don't even have that slide, and I wish that I did. How could that possibly be? I think it is right. Yeah, except for May 16th. I mean, this is a big deal. So let me get this right over here for us. But then I'm also going to, so the titles have to be right so that it just, this is supposed to be Thursday. So just give me just a couple seconds here so I can get my thoughts together, and I know that doesn't help you guys very much. All right, so that was attraction. That's exactly what I want. Okay. Oh, that's what I have open. Duh. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I actually probably did have everything I needed, but just because I didn't have the right titles, it's not gonna really pan out. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. That just is horrible sitting over there with this dead space. That is the title that I wanted to give you guys. And I've got to just, I know, you guys are just so interested in this. Why wouldn't you be? All right, this is really going to turn itself around. But that is what I wanted to talk about. So, no, I can't see it. So, a summary of how self-esteem, optimism, and resilience is attractive. That is exactly where we left off. So kind of pulling the idea here together about why are we focusing so much on this idea of self-worth and self-esteem, because that is what attracts other people to us. All right? So that brings us into this concept, and actually the idea here is that we are summarizing, and I am here now, and I am here. Ugh. It was on the title. Okay. What a great live show. You get to see all. I know, my crew, I let them out early today, and what a mistake letting them out early. And now I've got a sun setting and almost no time left, and haven't even started anything over here for you. The idea here was at the end, so I'm trying to, here it is Monday. I couldn't get on Thursday, right? So I'm going back to Wednesday. What? What we were talking about, and ending it with these concepts of self-worth and self-esteem that I gave you all of these measures for. So this is how we begin to attach, but I didn't get into attachment, and then what I decided to do instead was to change my sort of focus, instead of being on attachment, to actually have it on attraction. And so I changed my title there to an attraction title, because that's likely more what we are trying to accomplish, right? So what are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to make ourselves attractive for somebody, right? For somebody, for anybody. It doesn't even matter. We're trying to make ourselves attractive in some way to our kids, right? I want to be attractive to my kids, in that I want them to think of me as being maternal and being a nurturing kind of woman, right? So even that, we want people to be attracted to us. We want to be a magnet for good people, right? That's what we want to do. We want to be a magnet and draw good people to us. And if we are a magnet, we are attractive. What is the core foundation of that attraction? Time and time and time again, for anybody, it is the confidence. I'm watching right now Halt and Catch Fire. Love it. Love it. It is so good. It's a little bit older. I got it from the library. I didn't purchase it. Only 2 seasons. I got to get the other 2 seasons because I'm almost done. That's what I did on Mother's Day, a big boohoo. But it wasn't because I got to watch this. And watch the characters who people fall in love with. It doesn't matter across the board. They are characters with confidence. And how do you get an air of confidence? You can fake it, but people fake it by, that's the whole idea of the self-esteem. That's the whole idea of the self-esteem videos that I was, showed you, right? That we were talking about self-esteem, is that it can't be built on a foundation of sand, because it does not translate to a feeling of confidence. Let me check out my My online over here. There we go. Okay, all right. So it doesn't translate to a feeling of confidence. So we could build ourselves up, and we all know it. We all know it. That's the whole feeling that this whole pandemic has given us, right? That we could fake it, right? But we're not going to, and we're not going to anymore, which is the reason why we've had all this quiet quitting, right? We're not faking it for anybody anymore. You might think that we're going to. People aren't faking it anymore. It's the reason why we picked that last president, right? There's this feeling of authenticity. No matter what the rules were, right? He was willing to break them. Well, that causes chaos, as we have seen, right? And that's something we don't want. But what was the desire there? What was the attraction there? The attraction was and is always this air of confidence is what it is. We are only bullies if that air of confidence is built on sand, is built on nothing, right? It's just built on our windstorm coming out of our mouths, right? But again, when we take a look at, and I was just saying, so we take a look at, fake characters, they're not real characters, right? But when we take a look at those characters, I don't care what it is, look at a Marvel comic movie, right? Who is the attractive character? The attractive character is the one who doesn't necessarily break all the rules because they're a hero, right? So it's not about rule breaking. That's just again chaos, right? It just creates a lot of, unnecessary BS for people, right? Is what it does. It is a true, real air of confidence is what we want. So that is what's attractive. So last Wednesday, I couldn't get on Thursday, right? So where did we end with that? Great. Actually, it really was really good. And I was hoping that you were seeing the glue, and I hope that I'm putting the glue together today. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. and with a new topic tomorrow. So we're just putting these last sort of finishing touches to get us ready for our regular class. All right, tomorrow again, since we weren't here. So why are we talking about this? And actually, the foundation of attraction, psychologically speaking, is attachment. And it's the reason why I had the title attachment at first. And I'm like, they don't want to hear about attachment. They don't even know what the heck that is, right? But you do want to hear about attraction. And I have to bring a psychological sort of, I call underpinnings, foundation to what you're learning about, so that you have the control, right? The feelings of control, right? That I'm not helpless in the situation. When you have the understanding, the cognitive understanding of what makes you great, what makes you feel great, it is confidence, period. And let me also give you this little tidbit about confidence. There are two things, this is so interesting. The two things I've learned, psychologically speaking, that we pick up on another person the fastest. So there are all kinds of things that we pick up, right? Age, gender, all kinds of things. But it's the things, some of the things that we pick up the fastest personality traits that we register, there's two of them. And they are confidence and trustworthiness is the second one. We pick those up very, very quickly on other people. Automatically. We've got it in our nature. I'm going to talk about that starting tomorrow, this idea of nature and what is our nature. It's very important to know what our nature is so that we understand our biology and how our biology contributes to picking up on things like confidence and trustworthiness right away. So we cannot have a fake air of confidence about us. We pick it up in individuals no matter what their mouth is saying. We pick it up, and it is in 1/300th of a second, something like that, or 1/100th of a second is what it is. 1/100th of a second is what it ends up to be, something like that. Whatever that is in real time, I don't even know, right? Like just like that. That's all it is. That's how fast we pick up on somebody's confidence. So we know you can't fake it. There's something in our DNA that picks it up right away, as well as trustworthiness, which we'll talk about at another time. But right now, we are really highlighting this idea of building confidence in ourselves. And who doesn't want confidence? Not fake confidence, but real confidence. All right, so you're like, where did this come from? I don't even know what she's talking about. You have to go back and start with the self-esteem videos, which is likely on day 20 or something like that, somewhere around there on day 20 of our classroom. All right. I also have other videos out there for my healthy mind, body, spirit that's out there on self-esteem as well. So what is real self-esteem and how do you really build it? And when you're building real self-esteem, it gives you an air of confidence. When you have an air of confidence, you are highly attractive. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're talking about attraction today, right? And all of these backgrounds that we have here as I'm flipping through the slides. I flipped through these slides because we've gone over these slides already, right? So look at past episodes if you want to see when we're talking about something like true grit. Very, very important. Angela Duckworth is the person and the author and the researcher who has done this. You can also look her name up if you want to, or the idea of true grit if you want to, and get more information on that. But these are some of the foundations that I've talked about in order to build this level of self-esteem that we really need to have. I'm laughing at my hair. It looks horrible. It looks like way better if you were to see me in real life, okay? Anyway, who cares? Me, I care apparently. So the idea of learned helplessness, which I brought up, which has everything to do with control. So again, what are we trying to do? Give you a foundation for what makes you attractive. That is literally what we, because me and my crew, or me, is trying to give you this idea of what is it that will make us a magnet. And so pay attention as we go through this week, starting tomorrow at 8 o'clock, right, in our classroom, because many of these other classrooms also intersect with what we're talking about what real attraction is. Here on this Harry Harlow, if you go back, you could see some of the other episodes where I was talking about what can make us so fearful, right? Because the lack of confidence, the opposite of confidence, right? Lack of confidence would be, the foundation of that would be fear, right? What are we seeing here? What are we seeing here in today's society? We are seeing this high level of fear and anxiety, right? So if you're talking about and hearing what I'm saying about this high level of fear and anxiety that we're seeing, then you could see very clearly that people are not feeling attractive. If we have high levels of fear and anxiety, we see that people are not feeling attractive. And right there, what happens? Right there in the picture, right there in the picture, what happens? We get clingy. And that's what we're talking about. In our attachment styles, we end up creating faulty attachment styles is what we end up doing. And one of them, as we clearly can see from other people, not us, of course, right? But this, how about a clingy kind of relationship where I go from one relationship to the next, and what do, right? And then what, I heard somebody else use this expression, and then what? You can tell that, that I'd been there from what? From the nail marks that I've left, as somebody's dragging me away, kicking and screaming from this bad relationship. How does that happen? Well, right there, I'm going to use this finger then. There we go. Well, right there, we see that this happens. And if you recall from that episode, what the main topic was, how does that happen in attachment? How do we get those faulty attachments? We get those faulty attachments, amazingly enough, not necessarily from our mothers, although when our mothers are around and create trauma, that can be, but not the absence of a mother, not the absence of a mother. We get that trauma from the absence, this finger now, from the absence of peers at a young age. So an example for us, but then we also have to think, where's our peer group, right? What's our peer group saying to us? So we begin to see at this age, this critical thinking classroom age, which is right around high school age, right? Where we begin to once again develop our concepts of ourselves for what? For the the largest motivation we have, for belongingness, for relationships, so that we feel like we belong. And the idea here that we don't have or need relationships, and again, I've said it before, right? This whole isolation is a scientific experiment. I've said it before on isolation to see if we can't get people from this country, and with this communist thinking and fascist right-winged thinking that we have, this mentality that we have, to fall into line, to learn helplessness, to feel like we have no control. That's what isolation will do to us, generally speaking. And so we really need to take a close look and speak out very assertively about the positions that we are taking on what's going on, right? And we need to be speaking out about them assertively, not aggressively, right? Like I'm doing. I'm watching my signal over there. I'm losing some signal a little bit over here. Actually, I know I can plug in to my, and that gives me a backup, so I don't have, but I have a pretty good signal right now, and I need a good signal because I couldn't record for whatever reason. I didn't want to record, and that just, blah. Anyway, so let's get to I'm not even to the slide yet on our topic as the sun is setting. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about these. All right, so where I left off on Wednesday was measuring our feelings or level of control that we have, right? So that's where I left off. And we have been talking about measures of control for a little while, but now I'm going to take a look at a couple studies. Now, you could see that these studies are a little bit older studies. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter because you have to have an appreciation for older studies compared to newer studies. Newer studies are done by younger scientists, and they don't know what the heck they're doing for the most of the part. So older studies, especially studies that have been done, Seligman has been doing studies since 1965, so he might have an idea about what he's doing as far as studies go. Now, you can see that there are two studies there, and the two different studies there are talking about, yeah, it's interesting to me how the neighbors just decide to kind of intervene with their whatever the heck they're doing there at nighttime stuff to interrupt my show because they don't like what I have to say because they're a bunch of conservatives in the area. And I've spoken out about what's been going on here in the neighborhood, and they don't like it. Anyway, yeah, with watch my mystery series because that also has to do with trafficking. And so here you can take a look at the top study there and that top graph. So I'm going to expand that top graph, and that is the study that is, let me see here. I want to just make sure. That is the study next to it. So by Redu and Rivich. So 1995. And so what this is if you recall, when we were here together on Wednesday, we looked at, as I said, these measures of control. And so one of the measures that we took a look at was the, oh my gosh, where is that cave technique? Did I delete the cave technique? You know what? I've got it someplace else. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to look and see and open up this one here where I should have that cave technique on it. And I don't know why I don't have it on this one. All right, so when we were taking a look at this cave technique, what this did is they took a look at expressions that actually baseball players were making. And this expression was after and we could do the same kind of measures. Remember, we've been taking a look at measures that have been expressions of a bad event. But I've said all along, you can reverse those measures if you want to. If you take a closer look at it and you care about measures, you could reverse those measures or those outcomes and use them to help you indicate an optimistic or pessimistic explanatory style for outcomes of good events. And so it didn't matter whether or not the expressions were expressions after baseball players won a game or whether they were expressions after baseball players lost a game. Those expressions were able to be coded. I'm going to get the codes there on the bottom visible for you guys. So they were able to be coded whether or not they were positive statements or negative statements. And you could see there that higher numbers indicate the attribution to the left, which are positive statements. So the higher numbers are optimistic statements that individuals have made on whether or not they were internal or external, stable or unstable, and global and specific. So we've talked about those outcomes with the measures in past episodes. The last 3 episodes have been focused on, in one way or another, those measures and understanding those measures. But the interesting thing here that we're talking about is taking a look at those measures as they relate to our self-talk. So much of the last week that we've been meeting has been about the self-talk that we've been discussing that has been in, let me get me up there. That has been in that book, Hyperbole and a Half, right? So excellent examples of self-talk. And even if we were to take Allie's phrases that she uses in that book, Hyperbole and a Half, if we were to take her expressions, we could code those, here, this way. We could code those expressions using these, we could code those expressions using those measures that we have there available, right? Same thing. Take anything that you are reading that has an expression about a loss or a gain, and you could code those in this very same way and get an idea of how optimistic that individual is or how pessimistic that individual is. And then what it equates to is, oh, that's the reason why it's earlier. That's the reason why. It equates to these statements that people make, and then our ability to take a look at, for example, and this is what is so amazing about this data is that I can take a look at statements and then look at outcomes, right? So the first outcome that we have there that they were taking a look at is they were looking at wins and losses of baseball teams. So this was the study was done in 1995, but they took statements. So you could see we could take historical statements and use those statements. So let's say that I found newspaper clippings of historical statements that individuals made in 1930 after baseball games and wins and losses. And then I took a look at, for example, how long they lived. Because if I looked at data from the 1920s or 30s, I might find out that somebody only lived to 35 and somebody lived to 55 and somebody lived to 75 and somebody lived to 90. Were those winners or losers in the baseball game? And by the way, what were their statements is what Seligman and these other researchers here, Redu and Reinvik, I should know that since it's so close to my last name actually, Feravich. whether or not they actually lived. But here, these statements are looking at their standing. So statements in 1985, if they were optimistic or pessimistic, what did they end up doing in their wins and losses in 1986? And what we see there is that on the bottom, they are looking at their wins. So on the on the horizontal line, those are the numbers of wins. On the vertical line there is a measure of the amount of pessimistic statements that they made. So what we could see there is what is it? And I don't have that open, so I have to take a look at it on mine. Hold on just a minute so that I could see. And I don't know why that's not clearer for you guys either, but those are the pirates. So the pirates made many pessimistic statements, and we could see that their winning percentage was very low. The Mets, all the way to the bottom on the other end of the scale, made the least optimistic statements in their wins or losses. Now, that could be for a number of reasons. It doesn't really matter. But we could see that their winning percentage was much higher in 1986. So that's what they take a look at when measuring whether or not we are making optimistic or pessimistic statements. Here we've got Seligman's study, and what Seligman looked at was swimmers. And you could see there that the statement there that I put on that graph there said they were told their swim time was significantly slower. So we have individuals who are measured in their optimistic and pessimistic statements, for example, right? So they were measured as pessimists or optimists. Both of them in swim time number 1 said, you swam slow. And then they looked at their swim time number 2. So that's all that they did. They told optimists and pessimists, right, that their swim time was slow. All right? They told optimists and pessimists, because we have a group of swimmers over here. Some of them are optimists. Some of them are pessimists. We measure how optimistic they are. We measure how pessimistic they are, right? And then we divide them into groups. This is the group that by that measure is optimistic. This is the group by that measure is pessimistic. All right? And then they swim a second time, and what happened to their scores? The optimistic group who was told that their swim time was significantly slower, what did that information do for the optimist? They swam faster, right? So we have faster times, slower times is what we have, right? And what happened to the pessimist? They did no manipulation at all with this group. It was an observation. Well, there was a manipulation that they were all told that they swam slow, right? So they were all told they swam slow. The optimists, what did they end up doing? Improving their time. What happened to the pessimists? They ended up decreasing their time. They did worse. So this is interesting. This is good information to know. It is a feeling of control. The pessimists feel that they had no control over the fact that their times were slower, and so they were like what? Come see, come saw, whatever that phrase is, right? I don't even know. My mom used to say phrases like that all the time. You know why? Because she went to a Catholic orphanage. That's the reason why she used to say phrases like that, right? Or que sera, sera. There, how about that? Que sera, sera. I don't think that's the right phrase there, right? Doesn't even matter. Why are we talking a different language? Why are we speaking French? I don't even speak French, so who even knows what that really means, right? What will be, will be. That's what it means, because I know the song. It doesn't even matter, though. It doesn't matter is the point that I'm trying to make. The point is that if I'm a pessimist, I will have a tendency to give up. Why? Because of feelings of what? No control. When I feel like I have no control, I give up. I lack confidence. Not attractive. That is where we're going with this. Here's another example that we've got there of info that you might find valuable. This is about the immune system here. And what they did was they actually basically provided a scenario of giving individuals a typhoid vaccine and then looking at their resilience and the resistance to immunity later on. But what they did was they stressed them. So giving them a feeling of helplessness is what they ended up doing. And so what is going on in this study with the immune system? Let me see here. So you can see there at the bottom, let me blow that up for you so that you could see that chart there, that graph there. This is at work at school. It's not work at school. This is in our immune system is what we're looking at. So you can see there's an optimistic group here. And what they are measuring, so optimism, low optimism, number 1. High optimism, number 5 is what they're looking at. And so you can see low optimism, long orange bar. What is that long orange bar representing? This is representing basically inflammation is what it's looking at. So every disease that we have is related to inflammation is a result of every single disease that we have. Every single injury that we have, inflammation is a result of that. And so what about stress? What about stress then? So that's what they're doing. They're stressing these individuals and they're looking to see what their resistance is and how they react to this vaccination, right? So do I have high resistance or do I fall victim to the side effects of the vaccine, right? Well, when I'm stressed, what does happen? Well, it depends on whether or not you are optimistic or pessimistic. And look at what the stress does. It actually has a reverse effect, although that is a small, probably less significant effect. But we know from our studies on True Grit, and also, by the way, in that article that I had on optimism, the double-edged sword that I had there, I think that one was by Rayburn. I'm not sure. That in that article, they talk about aggravating rats. And the way that they aggravated the rats was by giving them a little bit of electrical shock on their tails. Those rats had a higher immune system and became more resistant to disease. So that's what we're doing here. We're almost building up our immunity relative to this kind of grit, these obstacles that we are creating. So back to our levels of self-esteem. When parents took away those obstacles, right, those ways for children to learn about what they were doing, right, about building their self-esteem, those critical lessons that were necessary for our children to learn, what were we doing? We were reducing their immunity. And the whole thing about this COVID thing and this isolation may be that what we are doing is really, truly building grit. Who are the individuals who can overcome? And that's what I'm trying to teach you, to be an individual who overcomes. Why? Because it's attractive, so we can mate. How about maybe just so we could mate? How about a little bit of love making? Not just mating like animals, but truly having a love session with the person that we are with and are committed to. Wouldn't that be wonderful if our stamina, if our whatever, spiritual, physical, mental strength, all went for a great love-making session? Not with anybody. It can't be with anybody. It wouldn't be. It just couldn't be, right? So maybe we're building our resistance here, and building our resistance in order to what? In order to be attractive. How does that happen? By being confident. How does that happen? By having real levels of self-esteem. That's how it happens. Where am I on time? Cool, what time did I start? I'm not sure how many minutes I've been on. I just want to be on for a few minutes longer because I know that I was like, we're doing whatever in the beginning. So let's look at one more slide. So we could see here, or no, let's actually go through this slide a little bit more carefully to see what I've got on the side there, all that info that I've got on the side about being able to build this kind of resistance, this kind of stamina, right? So what do we find out from individuals who are more optimistic? That's the list there. Individuals who are highly optimistic are more versus less motivated, of course. They persist longer despite setbacks versus giving up. This has everything to do with feelings of control and learned helplessness. So keep that in the back of your mind. If I learn helplessness, I give up. That means I'm less motivated. So keep those things in the back of your mind. Better versus worse performance. Higher marital satisfaction for people who are optimistic. Why? Probably because they persist longer despite setbacks. They are more motivated to make their marriage work. They have higher versus lower GPAs, grade point averages in school, right? They have less turnover at work when you are more optimistic. Why? Likely because they persist longer despite setbacks and they are more motivated. These individuals are less lonely. Why? Because they connect to other individuals. How so? Because they're more attractive. That's the reason. How they become more attractive? Because they're more confident. How'd that happen? Because they have real self-esteem. They outsell individuals in selling by 20 to 40%. They outsell pessimists. Optimists outsell pessimists by 20 to 40%. This is the reason why businesses do some of these surveys, right, for entering employees. Are you an optimistic individual? Because you will outsell a pessimist by 20 to 40%. You have higher immune functioning. And oh, by the way, note to businesses and note to corporations and note to the higher ups there, when you are promoting this kind of pessimistic attitude, it does not equate to sales. They have better immune functioning. So what's happening to your business? People are calling in sick. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we just hear about quiet quitting? Is that what they are? They're phone in Mondays and now they have phone in Fridays or whatever, right? I'm sorry. Why? Because you businesses are betting on a workforce that is just a bunch of worker bees instead of a workforce that has spirit, that has healthy functioning physically, mentally, and spiritually, right? They have healthier behaviors. What does that mean? They listen to their doctors, right? And hopefully don't have to take too many prescription medications or any at all. They also are their own self-fulfilling prophecy. If they believe that they will get better, they will take the medication. It is a control thing. I have control over my health, and so therefore I will take control. And so part of their healthy functioning really is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then the last one there, of course, this is going to equate to better personal relationships and make for more positive attributions. What are attributions? Attributions are the cause of the events in my life. They will make more positive attributions. What are they? I have control over the events, right? And I can make them come out whichever way, right? So there's this internal, external thing, if you were paying close attention to whether or not I have control or not, that kind of can go both ways. If everything else has control over me and I don't have control, external control, that's not a good thing either, right? If I think everything is my fault, internal control, not a good thing either, right? So this balance of good things are due to me. Bad things are due to outside forces, right? So, which I can figure out how to take control of, right? If I can. Those kinds of things, right? So, better personal relationships and making more positive attributions. So, attributions are the cause of an event. So, we explain internal, external, stable versus unstable, global versus specific. Those were in episodes like 25. We were really focusing in on that. So if you want some more information about that, you need to go back to about episode Classroom, Critical Thinking Classroom, episode number 25. All right? And you'll get some of this background for the foundation. So you just heard me recite all of the things that have to do with what? better personal relationships. Why? We're making healthier choices. Why? Because we feel we have more control. Why do we feel we have more control? Because we have more confidence in ourselves. Where does that come from? It comes from real self-esteem. So see, we're building up. What are we building up? Drum roll, please. What's our reward that we're building to? We're building to a higher level of attractiveness. Okay? So what am I talking about tomorrow? Good question. I am talking about, I actually put it on there as being sexy, but we still have to get through. We got through attraction, right? We haven't gotten to attachment. And attachment has to do with our mental representations. Sexy has to do with what do you do after you feel bad. What? Stick around tomorrow. We will be back here at our regular time, and hopefully I will have a wonderful signal. And what is our regular time? I'm looking it up because I forget. Our regular time is 10:30 a.m. We start at 8 a.m. with our early bird classroom, and don't miss our earliest in front of this, and they are real, oh, like the longest. Here we go. So we do phonics on Wednesday. So even the early bird classroom, if you need to brush up on your phonics skills, because do you even know what phonics skills are, right? Right? And you should. And many people who are adults don't even know what we're talking about. All right. So just to brush up on all those things, because it helps you read higher level material. And when you do read higher level material, you can do wonderful things like put on YouTube videos where you are teaching a whole entire nation, because the whole nation is tuning in. Are you? This is Dr. Annette Feravich. I am the teacher, and this is the classroom, and we have made it, right? We have made it without the sun completely setting here. Let me tell you the time. It is 8:51 here in Michigan. 8:51 in Michigan, and still, oh. Wrong way. Darn it. How am I not getting this? They're right here. All right. Are you getting it? Can you see the ducks right there? Can you see them? I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you must be able to, because they're between the trees there. Oh, right here. Oh, I'm pointing it with the arrow, but nobody can see an arrow. And they have the babies there. But what's up with all the males? Where are the females? That is weird to me. Is that weird to anybody else? Put your comments down below if that's weird to anybody else. All males, and you can't maybe you can't see the babies, but the babies are down there, right? So they're right there. I'm pointing to yeah, they're right there. Can you see them? And so a spectacular evening once again in Michigan. Who doesn't love Michigan? I am Dr. Annette Feravich. I'm the teacher. This is the classroom. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. What are we talking about? I've got Moses on the list for the Reader's Digest is what I have on the list. But you know what? We skipped a few things that I think might be important. So we're gonna check out what happens after Jacob. Jacob gets married. We talked about that kind of stuff a little bit later on. Maybe we're diving into Moses. Seems like we missed a main character or a semi-main character. We'll see. But next on the list of a Reader's Digest children's Bible story is Moses. Thank you for joining me. I will see you tomorrow.